Welcome. Today we have with us Ms. Akshaya Akilan. Few words about Ms. Akshaya Akilan. Ms. Akshaya Akilan is a psychologist, a special educator for children with learning disabilities, specifically dyslexia, a human rights major who finds her passion in mental health advocacy. She interned for the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights, Human Rights Treaty Body, Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and followed by which she interned for the World Health Organization's Global Coordination Mechanism for Prevention of Non-Communicable Diseases and Mental Health. She also worked for a psychological clinic based in Chennai called Mind Zone and interned at the Tamil Nadu State Human Rights Commission in the legal division. She also manages her family businesses like Akshaya College of Arts and Science, British Agro Farm, British Solar Farms. We are happy to welcome you to this program. Welcome. Can you share some of your life journey experiences?
Yes, ma'am. So I essentially hail from an ancestry of farmers. And that's still our roots back in a district called Dharmapuri in Tamil Nadu. And that's where my parents hail from. I was, however, born and brought up in Chennai, Delhi, and Andaman. And I just recently came back from Geneva because I was working for the UN over there. And I just came back to start my own projects and see where I can venture out, maybe, work for the government or anything along those lines, or help with the family business. So I'm here, as of now, I am trying to do a lot of things all together just to see which I fit in the best, to see where I want my future to be. A bit about my schooling. I did my schooling in a lot of schools, but predominantly in a school called Harishri Vidyalayam in Chennai and another school called Shishya in Chennai as well. I also studied in DPS, so on and so forth, but I graduated from Shishya. And I graduated with a humanities degree, followed by which I joined psychology, a bachelor's in psychology in Ethraj College for Women. I did my master's I'm actually doing my master's in human rights and duties education from Madras University. And in between all of this, I have done a lot of certification courses which allow me to be a special educator. And right now I'm also pursuing a diploma in International Career Institute. My academy is based in Australia. And it's a 6-month course. It's a 6-month course and I'm still doing it. And apart from my academic background, when it comes to my work field, I've worked in a rehabilitation and de-addiction center called Mind Zone. And I've worked in the State Human Rights Commission for Tamil Nadu, for which I worked for the legal division during my master's, when I was doing my master's. Followed by which I worked for the United Nations High Commissioner's Office for Human Rights under the Committee of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And then I worked for the World Health Organization, in which I worked for the Global Coordination Mechanism for Prevention of Non-Communicable Diseases and Mental Health. So yes, it's a mouthful. And I came back here. Right now I'm working for my family business, which is a few things, which one of it is Akshaya College of Arts and Science, which is arts college based in Zengalpet. Another one is British Agro Products, which is essentially a mushroom producing farm, which is also overseen by my family, and I help run both of these, along with my own venture, Hibiscus Foundation for Social Welfare, and that is a mental health advocacy platform for the benefit of community and social service.
That's wonderful to know about it. You are into a variety of fields. To start with, let us know something about the family business that you are into, the British Agro Products. What do you do in it?
Ma'am, so essentially a farm that's pretty old in the sense like it's about 5 years, and it produces a little over 10 tons per day. And it varies, of course, because, all the different climatic factors and all of that. But essentially, since we hail from ancestry of farmers, my parents have always felt, it's necessary that no matter what business we do, we always make sure that there is some part of our business that grows food. And little did we know that it would become such a huge industry of sorts. And right now we have a lot of connections, and we have a lot of marketing that we do for it. I essentially work for the marketing and design team, and I help contact wholesalers. I coordinate between the different marketing strategies and styles, and I help design the posters and the website coordination and all of that. So that's how I've been helping with the British Agro Farms.
Wonderful to know about it. You do have a solar energy plant also. A few words about it, please.
So the British solar plant essentially has about it's a 2.5 megawatt solar plant, and 80 to 90% of the electricity used for British Agro Farms is essentially clean energy, and it is taken from so the government does not allow direct transmission of electricity. So the electricity is given to the government, and the government in turn deducts the electricity bill from this. So 80% to 90% of the electricity used is entirely clean energy.
You have a Arts and Science College in your name, Akshaya Arts and Science College, affiliated to Madras University, offering a variety of programs. Can you tell in detail about it?
Yes, ma'am. So Akshaya College of Engineering essentially started 2 years ago, and this would be the third year since commencement. And right now we offer a variety of courses, which is available on the website, which I believe will be linked underneath. And the college essentially does a lot of social service activities as well, and it does a lot of vocational training for students in their fields. So apart from the curriculum prescribed by Madras University, we also make it a point to ensure that all of these students who take part in, who are part of Akshaya College of Arts and Science have a lot of vocational training in their specific fields that will help them gain a job. And since semester 1, we focus a lot on placements, and we've known to, actually get students placed in a lot of places. And we always aim to achieve 100% placement as well, which we think is really, really important, especially considering, COVID and considering the amount of, unemployment that's been going around in India. So that's something that we've been focusing on, especially with the Arts College. So that's.
What about the admission? How do you help the candidates to get admitted during this COVID-19 period?
Yes, ma'am. So I was getting to that. Thank you so much for asking. So I essentially work in the admissions team right now, and that's actually what I've been coordinating. And before COVID, what we would do is we would go in person to colleges, to schools, and get students to apply for the university. We would get students to apply, on the spot. We'd even go to their houses if they ask for it. But unfortunately, due to COVID, we have not been able to execute all the strategies we normally execute. So we have this online registration platform as of now, and just very, very basic details like 5 to 6 questions is in the application form. And once, especially for accessibility, to make sure that it reaches more students, what we do is as soon as the application is received, we make a call to them, and we have like a full conversation with them about everything that we have to offer, everything that we do for them, so on and so forth. So that's admissions it's really tough these days because of COVID, but we're still trying to do our best to make sure the students' education does not get deferred, even due to COVID.
That's great to know. It helps the prospective candidates also to approach the college for admission without having a break in their academic. So you complete the entire process of admission online itself. As most of the colleges have started, you have also started. That's wonderful to know about it. So you are taking care of your psychology components, and then you manage your family businesses like mushroom agro farm as well as solar plant, and then your Arts and Science College also, wide variety of businesses around you at this young age. How do you manage everything?
Ma'am, it's really tedious, especially considering COVID, and not being able to leave the house has also been really stressful. But we get around to it. Like some days are more difficult than the others, especially since mushroom is such a perishable commodity. it requires like an overnight delivery, and it's not entirely possible with COVID, and trying to maintain the quality of the products, trying to get students to actually get admission, trying to get trying to be a mental health advocate, trying to make sure that people get the mental health help that they need. It's been really hectic, and it's been really hard, and I think one of the things that's actually helped me is consistency, and trying to just do as much as I did yesterday, or do a little bit more than I did yesterday today, to just make sure that I keep pushing myself. So that's that. And a routine really helps, like trying to fix a particular schedule, trying to have a routine, trying to wake up at a particular time. And it's been really hard, but I'm trying.
You might have faced a lot of challenges in all these verticals. How did you overcome that, and how did you reach your target?
Ma'am, when it comes to the UN by itself, I think that was the most difficult thing I'd done, and I never thought I would actually get into the UN. I honestly, when I first applied, it took me 6 hours to send out the first application, and one of the most challenging things in that was not knowing whether or not I was sending the right thing, because I had no one to look up to, I had no one to ask what's happening. And I think this is a huge problem for a lot of reasons, because even when it comes to just being a woman, there is a lot of mansplaining that happens. There is a lot of men that try to tell you that it's somehow not okay for a woman to be in a position of power, or sometimes men tell you that they don't tell you directly, but there is a glass ceiling over there. That all the people in the highest position are men, and you see that it's not okay. And you also see that there are this is just one of the few challenges. One would be all the patriarchy that you have to deal with. Another would be how there is an absolute disregard for the field of mental health by itself. I know I'm being a little incoherent here. I'm just listing out random challenges that I've faced. But when it comes to trying to advocate for mental health, especially with freshly starting out NGO, especially when you're just a 22-year-old woman, it is terrifying, because I get messages on an 3-day basis where they tell me psychology is not a science, mental health is farce. People tell me that you just have to believe you'll be okay and everything will be okay. Toxic positivity is such a common concept. There is so much stigma. When just talking about mental health, people would be like, the word mental is in it, which basically means it's not a good omen. And I'm like, that is not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to take away the stigma from the word and let the word be. And it's really difficult for people to understand that. And the challenges just keep coming and going, but I think it's really important for you to be resilient about it. And it's really important that though you hear all of this and you have to face all of this, it's important that that there will be a better future, and that you have to be one of the people to make the future happen. And that keeps me going. So that's pretty much how I face my challenges. Yeah.
Very well said. Wonderful to know that. So your consistency and your determination has helped you to overcome all these and reach what you want. Who is your role model as such?
Ma'am, so I would like to think that there are a lot of people who have done a lot of really good things in life. And I feel like everyone has different circumstances and different lifestyles. So as uncommon as it may sound, I would like to think that my ideal self that I would like to be in the future is my role model. And that person would be the person I would like to become, because what I am handed in life is not what anyone else is handed in life. And I think it's really important that I work with what I'm given and not try to aspire to be someone who has a completely different set of resources and tools, right? So that would be my answer.
It's a unique thought, actually, but it has to be welcomed. It's a wonderful idea. You have your self-concept in a wonderful way set, so that you have yourself as your own role model.
Yeah.
That's great to know. At this particular young age, you have it. Great.
Thank you so much, Mom.
Okay. So how do you de-stress yourself, or what are the hobbies that you have?
Mom, so I have been into a lot of different set of things, starting from photography to calligraphy to art to athletics, so on and so forth. So a little bit about each of these. When it comes to athletics, I was sports captain in 10th grade itself, and I also took up physical education as my optional subject for 10th grade, and that was my highest scoring subject, so on and so forth. And that's something that really helps. A physical activity is supposed to release endorphins apparently, and that's actually supposed to help you function better. Other than that, I also do photography, for which I would say it became a profession at a point, because I would go to Model United Nations and take photographs, and even for the organizations that I worked for, I've done photography for them. I used to judge photography. I would train people in photography, and one of the most one of the things that I'm super proud of that I've done for the field of photography is for the past 5 years, I've been a founding member of this movement called June in Focus. And June in Focus is essentially a platform for photographers to post their photos every day consecutively for a period, through the period of June every year. So this would give them a reason to form that consistency and that sort of practice to take a photo every day and post it with the hashtag June in Focus. And I think my favorite part about this movement was that I've seen some people take part for those 5 years, and I've personally seen how much they've grown as a photographer, and how much they're being more consistent as a photographer in those 5 years. And that sort of growth is something that I was hoping to achieve, and I did. And that's about it. And when it came to calligraphy and art, that is genuinely a hobby. That is something that I just do. I do it for the online platform Hibiscus Foundation for now. But I've also trained people in calligraphy before, and I've also helped calligraphy stuff for the organizations I worked for, and I basically helped it even in the UN. I helped people do this as a hobby. I was not paid for it, but it was something that I did for them as well.
Amazing to know that. Even with hobbies, you have varieties. That's great to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So, having done all these, I hope you will be having a lot of future plans also. Can you share it with us?
Yes, ma'am. So, right now, I started working on a project called Logs in the River, which was actually it was in last September when I was still working for the UN, and it was to eliminate all the patriarchal views in people. Yes, eliminate sounds like a really strong word, but I felt that it was really necessary to eliminate the patriarchal attitudes and thoughts of people in order to make sure that instances like rape does not happen. Because I, in my research, traced all the situations of rape to patriarchy, and I felt that tapping at those roots was really important. But at the same time, I felt like I didn't really have a platform to do the same. And I also felt I was strongly passionate about a lot of other things like mental health advocacy. I was passionate about gender equality, reduced inequalities, poverty alleviation. I was also passionate about climate action. So I figured, these are a lot of different sustainable development goals clubbed together. And I was like, what am I going to do with these? And I decided that how I would be targeting these particular problems would be not only introducing clean energy in my family business, but also doing something by myself. And giving it a lot of thought, I realized the best course of action would be to start an NGO. And hence the name Hibiscus Foundation for Social Welfare. And the Hibiscus Foundation for Social Welfare is supposed to be working on all of these goals, in different capacities and different, fields. Firstly, it'll be starting off working on mental health, because that's what I am coherent in and that's what I can actually guide. But however, we're still looking to recruit a lot of people who can help with the other sustainable development goals as well, and just try to do our part in doing the groundwork to actually achieve the 2030 goals, and try our best to make the world a better place, as little as we can do or as much as we can do. So that's the concept. And one other really major project that I thought to work about in Hibiscus Foundation for Social Welfare is a topic called Health for All policy, which means that every single person on this planet needs to get health, needs to have health. And this particular concept should also be applied for mental health. And I feel like the concept of mental health is not something that's reached everyone. It's not something that policies I have elaborately discussed. It's not something that women get more than men. So my thesis was on this particular topic, mental health rights in women, young women, especially in India. And I was surprised to find out that most of them thought mental health was not a right. And that appalled me. I was like, how do you think it's not a right? Health is a right, and so is mental health, because mental health falls under health. And hence, mental health for all is an initiative that I have been wanting to work on for years now. And I believe that somewhere down the line, I will be working on this. And I think this will probably be the first thing that I'll be working on.
And it's a different need of the hour, actually, to be frank. And I wish that you succeed in your future plan also.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Fine. Any message to the viewers of this program?
I think every single one of us, especially right now, needs to focus a lot on not just COVID recovery, but COVID recovery into the new normal in a better way, like in a better fashion. We need to work towards being more sustainable. We need to work towards being more equal. We need to get that equality set in our brains, and we need to ingest that sort of a cognition process that does not allow us to discriminate. And yes, it might seem very it might seem very drastic, it might seem like a bold statement to say, but I strongly believe that that is the only way forward. And I think we need to go forward, and it's not okay for us to just be where we were, and it's important that we set to the new normal and be better than what we used to be.
Very well said. A kind request from my end, like for the viewers or the subscribers of this channel, if they are economically back and or keen on doing higher education or pursuing higher education, can you give them a scholarship?
Ma'am, so we've already been doing a program like this for students who are, unable to actually pay for their education. So what we do is, on a case-by-case basis, we decide how much of a discount they would require, how much they would require help from our side, what we can do about it. And yes, we do give out discounts. We do give out, help from our side to help them actually get education. So yes, ma'am. So definitely, if they contact us, we will be more than willing to, and we'll actually welcome them to pursue their higher education despite economic difficulties.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I pray and wish that you succeed in all your future endeavors. God bless you. Thank you.
So
Thanks for your time and interest.
Yeah. Ma'am, thank you so much for doing this, especially right now, considering that, it's been so much harder for women to find jobs during COVID, like it was already hard before, and it's so much harder now. And, considering that is going to, break the already pre-existing inequalities and widen it furthermore, I think it's really important that you're doing this right now and, trying to promote women to be entrepreneurs, to be leaders, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much.
Ms. Akshaya Akhilan has given our subscribers an offer, a special scholarship for those who are economically back and wanted to pursue their higher education in Akshaya College of Arts and Science. To avail the special scholarship, all you have to do is, number 1, subscribe this channel. Number 2, mention your interest in pursuing the higher education. We will connect you to the respective in charges of Akshaya Arts and Science College. We'll meet you all with another wonderful women entrepreneur. Thank you.